Hello and welcome to Olga Poltava Crochet channel. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying the holiday season. Perhaps some of you are now working on Christmas gifts. That is something I need to focus on too. I have a few Christmas gifts already made, but I need to make several more. But today I'd like to share a tutorial for a simple texture scarf made with budget-friendly Caron Simply Soft yarn. Maybe some of you would like to make this scarf as a Christmas present to someone in your life, or maybe you would want to make it for yourself. You can also use this beautiful stitch for other projects, such as blankets or afghans, or you can make something small, such as a dishcloth. The texture of this stitch would be perfect for that. In any case, whatever you decide to make, or maybe simply save this video for the future projects, I hope it will be useful to you. There is only one repeating row in the pattern, and the textured fabric looks the same on both sides. I used 1.5 skeins of Caron Simply Soft, which is a category 4 100% acrylic yarn. The specific color is Robin's Egg. That's about 245 grams or 455 yards. I crocheted with the hook size H, 5 millimeters. The finished measurements of my scarf are about 60 inches long and 6.5 inches wide. The stitch might look a bit complicated at first, but once you've made several rows, it becomes very easy and intuitive and quite enjoyable. Please remember to give my video a like and a hype and leave me a comment. And make sure to check out some other of my scarf tutorials that I recently shared on my channel. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Happy crocheting and happy holidays! I'm going to crochet the scarf with the hook size H, 5 millimeters, but I'm going to make the starting chain with the hook size I, 5.5 millimeters. And that's because I need to make the starting chain quite loosely. The multiple for the stitch is 2, and for my scarf, I start with 26 chains. 1, 2, 3, here I have 26 chains and I'm ready to start the first row. Now I'm switching to the hook size H, 5 millimeters, and I'm going to continue crocheting with this hook. Before I start working the textured pattern of the scarf, I need to work 2 foundational rows. The first row is very simple. It's a row of single crochets. And here I have 2 options how I make single crochets. I can either insert the hook into the chain, I can insert it under 1 loop or under 2 loops, or I can insert the hook under the back humps, and some people also call them back ridges of the chain. So these are the loops over here. I personally prefer to insert the hook under these back humps or ridges, and that's how I'm going to work the first row of single crochets. Now the first single crochet is worked into the second chain from the hook. We never count the chain on the hook, we always start counting from the next one. So 1, 2, and over here under the back hump I work a single crochet. And now I will simply make a single crochet into each chain across. Here I worked a row of single crochets. I started with 26 chains and I have 25 single crochets in this row. I turn my work and I start next row with 1 chain. Now the second row is also quite simple. It's a row of single crochets, but I will work them into the front loops only. The very first single crochet I work through both loops right here. And now I'm gonna start working single crochets into the front loops only. So this is the back loop and this is the front loop. So I will insert the hook under the front loop only and make a single crochet. And I simply make single crochets into each single crochet, front loop only, all the way across to the last single crochet. Here I am at the end of the row, and the very last single crochet I work through both loops. So in this row, I started with a single crochet, which was worked through both loops. Then I have 23 single crochets, which are worked through the front loop only, and the very last single crochet is worked through both loops. And that's what I will do at the beginning and end of each row. I will start with a single crochet, work through both loops, and I will end with a single crochet, work through both loops. And that way I will have nice sturdy edges on the sides of the scarf. I turn my work and I start next row with one chain, and into the first single crochet through both loops I make a single crochet. Now I'm going to work a double crochet into the front loop only of the row of the second row below. So this is the first row below and this is the second row below, and over here I have a front loop of the single crochet, because on the other side I crocheted single crochets into the front loop only, and on the other side this was back loop, but when I turn my work it becomes the front loop. So right here is the next single crochet, but I will work not into the single crochet, but into the front loop only of the single crochet below it. So right here, this is where I'm going to insert the hook, and in this stitch I will work a double crochet. So yarn over, and this is how I insert the hook, and I work a double crochet. So my next stitch is over here, it's a single crochet, and into this single crochet, working into the front loop only, I make a single crochet. So if I look over here, there is one stitch that kind of looks like as if it's skipped, but it's not skipped. It just looks that way because this double crochet was worked into the stitch below it. This is my next stitch, and I'm going to work a front loop double crochet, but I'm not inserting the hook here. I'm inserting the hook over here under this front loop of the single crochet below this one. So right here, this is where I make a double crochet. This is the next stitch, and over here under the front loop only I make a single crochet. And again I alternate. This is the next stitch, and the front loop below it is right here, and that's where I make a double crochet. This is the next single crochet, and into the front loop only I make a single crochet. This is the next single crochet, and I make a double crochet into the front loop below it. In next single crochet, front loop only, I make a single crochet. And that's how I continue crocheting all the way across to the last single crochet. Here I am at the end of this row, and over here I have 2 stitches left. I just made a single crochet over here and over here, front loop below the next single crochet. I make a double crochet, and then the last single crochet I make through both loops. I turn my work and I start next row with one chain and a single crochet through both loops into the first single crochet. And now I'm going to start working the same way as I worked the previous row. This is the next stitch, and I'm going to crochet a double crochet not into the stitch but into the front loop 2 rows below, right here. Yarn over, and this is where I make a double crochet. So in the beginning of the row there is a single crochet and then a double crochet. This is the next stitch, and into the front loop only I make a single crochet. This is the next stitch, and into the front loop below it I make a double crochet. Next stitch over here I make a front loop only single crochet. Next stitch is over here, and into the front loop below it, I make a double crochet. And that's how I continue crocheting this row. Front loop only single crochet, then front loop only double crochet into the stitch below the next stitch, and then a single crochet and a double crochet, a single crochet and a double crochet. And again, I'm working into the front loops only. And that's how I'm going to continue crocheting all the way across. And here at the end of the row, I have 2 stitches left. I make a double crochet front loop only. And then the last stitch is a single crochet, work through both loops. And this row is finished. I turn my work, and again I start working the next row the same way as the previous. 1 chain and into the first single crochet through both loops I make a single crochet. Here is the next stitch, and now I will be working into the front loop only of the double crochet below this next stitch. So right here, this is where I insert the hook. So now you will begin to see the pattern that double crochets are gonna be always worked on top of each other. So this double crochet has a front loop over here, and that's where I work a double crochet. Now the next stitch is over here, it's a single crochet, and into the front loop only I make a single crochet. Here is the next stitch over here, and below it is a double crochet, and this is the front loop of it, and that's where I make a double crochet, inserting the hook under that front loop. The next stitch is a single crochet over here, and into the front loop only I make a single crochet. The next stitch is over here, and below it is a double crochet. This is the front loop of that double crochet, and that's where I make another double crochet. So again, double crochets are gonna be worked into double crochets, front loops only, and single crochets are gonna be worked into single crochets, front loop only. And that's how I continue crocheting. And again, at the end of the row, I make a double crochet front loop only above double crochet, and then the last stitch is worked through both loops, and it's a single crochet. And this is how this pattern is worked. At first, it's going to be a bit challenging. Pay attention that your stitches don't shift. Pay attention that double crochets are worked on top of double crochets, and single crochets are worked on top of single crochets. So you can see over here, this is a double crochet worked on top of a double crochet, a double crochet worked on top of a double crochet. And on this side, I only have 1 row of double crochets yet, so I'm gonna start working the next row so you can see what it looks like. So over here, a double crochet, and I make another double crochet on top of it. So make sure your stitches don't shift. And that's how you're gonna continue crocheting. And as you make more rows, your eyes, your hands, your brain are gonna get used to this pattern, and it's gonna become quite easy. Here I worked a few more rows, and the pattern becomes clearly visible. My scarf measures about 60 inches long now, and to finish it, I will make the last row as a row of single crochets worked into the front loops only. So I start with 1 chain. Into the first single crochet, I make a single crochet through both loops, and then I make a single crochet into front loop only of each of the next single crochet all the way across to the last one, And the last single crochet, I will work through both loops. And now I can fasten off, hide the yarn tail, and the scarf is finished.